Okay, now we're going to talk about a different pattern of inheritance. Before we talked about complete dominance, and that's probably the easiest. Complete dominance is when we have two alleles and the two alleles, one's recessive and one's dominant. Well, sometimes that's not always the case, such as an incomplete dominance. In incomplete dominance, we have two equally strong alleles. And when that happens, neither one of them are going to be able to be dominant over the other. So we have a different pattern of inheritance. One's called incomplete dominance, and the other one's called codominance. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. So it says not all alleles are dominant and recessive. Some alleles are equally strong, and neither are masked by the other. Alleles which are equally strong are said to be incomplete dominance. They're said to have incomplete dominance. And what happens when we have incomplete dominance is we have both alleles present and they're both expressed in the phenotype. So the hybrid or the homozygous genotype is a blend of both alleles. So when expressing incomplete dominance, both alleles are represented by different capitalized letters. So when we're talking about these patterns of inheritance where both are equally strong, both the alleles are equally strong, or they're both dominant, we represent them with uppercase letters. So this is a great example of it. We have a red flower right here that's homozygous, has a big R, and we have a white flower over here which is represented by a capital W, capital W. Well, these are both equally strong, equally dominant alleles. When we cross them together, we get a hybrid of a hybrid genotype of big R, big W. Well, when you take red and you take white, and we have incomplete dominance, what happens is we get a blend of that phenotype. So instead of having a white or a red flower, we're going to have a pink flower. So all that's going to be, all those big R's, big W's are going to be pink. Well, let's say we take the F1 generation that we just bred. We take the big R, big W, the big R, big W, and we cross them together. We take two heterozygous pink flowers, so they have one of each allele, big R, big W, and we cross them together. What we're going to get is a big R, a big R, big W, big R, big W, and a WW. Big W, big W. Okay. Well, this guy right here, big R, is going to be red because it's homozygous and it has two red alleles. So it's going to be red. Well, these two guys right here are going to be, we have a big R and we have a big W. So we're going to have a pink flower. Because the red and the white are both equally strong, so they're going to blend together in the phenotype. So what we'll see is a pink flower. Here we have big W, and that's going to be white, of course. So what that gives us is a 1 to 2 to 1 ratio with red, 25% red, 50% pink, and 25% white. Okay, now here's another example, codominance. It's an example of when both alleles are equally strong and both alleles are visible in the hybrid phenotype. This is a situation where we're going to actually see both of those phenotypes in the hybrid or in the homozygous genotype, or in the individuals that have the homozygous genotype. So previously, this was an example of incomplete dominance, and a lot of flower color is governed by incomplete dominance. But codominance, if we had a big R, and a big W, that we were breeding together, the intermediate phenotype would be a pink and red flower. So, or I'm sorry, white and red flower. So let me show you what this looks like. When an intermediate phenotype occurs and no allele dominates, codominance results. So codominance is like when we take a black chicken and a white chicken and we get a black and white speckled chicken. Neither one of those are equally strong. Neither one of those are, neither one of those are going to dominate over the other. They're not going to blend together, but both of them are going to show when we have codominance. And a way that you can think of this is if you've ever co-sponsored something. If you've co-sponsored something, then or you're a co-captain or something of that nature, you have two sponsors or you have two captains that are equally present, equally dominant. Well, if you've ever heard of co-ed, you're going to have what? Girls and boys present, okay? So, well, just like that, think of the co-dominance. They're sharing this dominance. They're sharing the phenotype. So you're going to take a black and a white speckled chicken. You're going to get, or you're going to take a black and a white chicken. You're going to get a black and white speckled chicken. Now, here's a really good example of codominance. It's also a great example of multiple alleles, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Blood type. Blood type is a great example of codominance because we have type A, we have type B, and we have type AB, and we also have type O. Well, type O is recessive, okay? But type A and type B are both equally dominant, and they display codominance when they are present in the phenotype. And all this tells us is that there's actually a protein that's off the red blood cell. And if you have type A, then you have type A proteins hanging off your red blood cells. If you have type B, then you have type B proteins hanging off your red blood cells. If you have type AB, then you have both A and B proteins on your red blood cells. Well, if you have type O, you don't have any. So if all this Punnett square shows us is if, say, you had a mom that had type A and a father that had type B, if you cross them, they have a 25% chance of having a child that has that codominance, where they have A and B, or they could have a child that displays complete dominance with a type B because they have O here and that's recessive to B. And the same goes with this type A. A is dominant over O. And here we have a recessive allele being shown. So blood types A and B are equally strong and O is recessive. So if we have to have type A, we can have an allele for A and an allele for O, or we can have two alleles for A. And the same goes with B. But to have type AB blood, we have to have both of those alleles present in our genotype. And to have type O, we have to have both of the O's, both alleles type O. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap this one up.